recording this. So as a reminder, if you can see in the announcements section, I have posted out PPS buy signals. We'll take a look at those stocks in just a few minutes. Also, just as a reminder, tomorrow we have, well, or at least with today's daily posting, I just decided to put in as a reminder seasonally weak sectors, seasonally strong sectors that we can kind of focus in on. And then tomorrow I have a special treat, the last day of our open house. Tomorrow we'll have the last day of open house. We will include more seasonally strong and weak sectors, including commodities, so we can kind of review that. So for those that have been with us this week, I want to say thank you so much, and to our student friends and community here, thank you for your incredible support this week. And as most of you know, I had a slight little incident over the weekend, an accident, and I've just discovered that it's not like the common cold where you get cured overnight. But last night I did not take the pills that make you stupid, so I will be able to make a little bit more sense today. So with that, I want to say hello and welcome everybody, and let's go over here and start off with the chart in front of us. First thing I want to start off with is where we are at with the overall market. And when we take a look at the overall market, the one thing we want to look at with stock indices, as a reminder, we all have access to this data. And I know a lot of traders look at the traditional technical analysis tools, you know, like oscillators and indicators, where they're looking for overbought, oversold conditions. But, you know, the aspect with stock indices is we have a very unique indicator that we can look at, and it's called the advanced decline line. And as you can see, we are, this is the NYSE. This is the most popular index that everyone has access to look at the advanced decline. And we are coming against this old shelf, the old resistance spot since last April's high. As you can see here, I just drew this little trend line across the top. And as you can see, this is exactly about where the market has intersected with. Now, what I will say is when we take a look at the other indices, and I want to get that, by the way, that was a weekly chart. When we take a look at other indices, we take a look at the S&Ps. I want to take a look at the S&Ps, or the spiders, actually. And we'll change this over here. And this is a daily chart, so we're all looking at a daily chart. So when we take a look at this chart, we say, wow, this could be another, just like we had this little downdraft in the market, and we took a little pause, and then we had another stair step to lower levels. Looking at the advanced decline analysis, the market has definitely broken these levels here, and it's signifying that we might see some more downside continuation. However, I think that one of the things that I also look at is the fact that yesterday's trade action in the S&Ps, not the spiders, the S&Ps formed, and let me see if I can get this. We formed this little doji here on the cash market, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people will notice, that we had a doji formation close to that at the top, and dojis do not mark bottoms, they mark indecision. And I would say we have an opportunity over the next 3 time periods that if we get a close over that daily high, then we do have a shot for a corrective bounce to the upside. When we take a look at the overall market indicators, you can see here that we've made lower lows in price, but we haven't made lower lows with the indicator. And so with that said, I think we've got a nice shot for bounce. Now, one of the other things I wanted to point out real quickly here, and bear with me. There's two things that I want you guys to focus in on. A, if we close today or tomorrow or within 3 business days after this doji above yesterday's high, so that would be what a pattern is considered what I call the high close doji formation. If we close above this doji's high, that would give you an indication that we have a short-term turnaround or a reversal buy signal. All right. The next area to watch for is, if that does not happen, I also want to see if we get a close, and I know this is way away from here, but above this candle, this red candle's high, this is I consider what is known as a last conditional change candle because the market closed below prior lows. So if you get back above the high of that last conditional change candle, which as you can see here is at approximately 1283 level, that will also give way for an upside move. So the question begs, is this the end of the world, and is this the market that should be sold? And I would have to say that at this point in time, there's an awful lot of stocks that have given us some turnarounds, and there's an awful lot of stocks that are closer to their 52-week highs and making newer highs. So I'm not all that bearish in the hold down here, truthfully. So let me go over, and I want to go over to the daily charts. And let me switch page here real quick. All right, so first thing I want to focus in on are some seasonally strong sectors and stocks that are at or near support. And it's funny because we have this stock came up on our radar screen, and I want to just put this in front of you guys here. Bear with me. Well, we talked about this in our trading room yesterday, eBay. And I think we've mentioned this before. eBay is not the company or the product that you would look to be a buyer or look for this market to go up during the Christmas holidays, mainly because not a lot of people like to buy or will give a used gift, and that's one of the things with eBay during the holidays. But we do have we're entering a seasonally strong period of time with eBay, and yesterday we generated this little buy signal in eBay, and the funny thing is it's at or near its monthly pivot support. So looking at this as a technical trade, looking at eBay, as you can see, we aren't above this. Let me get this resistance line here more accurately drawn here. So one of the other areas of interest that I think we ought to be looking at is, instead of just looking at price, is looking at the condition of the market's rally. And we do that by looking at the volume. And one of the volume tools that I always kind of talk about here is the on-balance volume. Now notice that the price yesterday is not higher than the last peak high that made the corresponding move with the on-balance volume, which is this day right there. So we are lower in closing price, and yet so is the volume. But look at the pullback. When we got that little pullback, if you were trading this bottom yellow line, if this was a line chart and this was a price of a stock, you would say that looking at this the volume looks more bullish than the price action of the chart itself. I don't know if you guys relate to what I've just said, but we have a market that is actually, for the most part, since the lows in early December, we've gone actually sideways in this market, right? So since the lows, we can go back and say November 22nd right here, we've made a little bit of dance, but look at the overall volume trend. That to me says there's more accumulation. And so I think we have a potential for eBay, if you guys are interested in a move. I would say for a low-risk situation, we would be looking for some slight pullback. I think we can probably get down around 52.78, somewhere around there, 52.80. And I would put stops not underneath this low, but I would put stops underneath this double bottom right here. So I think that if we do get a pullback in here, there's two ways to play it. You can look for a pullback to the midpoint of yesterday's range, number one, with stops underneath that swing low, A, or B, wait, if the market does pull back, then stop yourself in on a long position on a breakout above this level right in here, which is approximately, we'll get that teed up for you here, above 55.23. Now I know that's a long ways away, and that's a difference of a nice profitable move. But if you do stop yourself in, you're stopping yourself in above an area that was market broke out above and it rejected. So there's probably no more buy stops above the market. And at this point in time, if you get back above that level, and if it's accompanied with an increase in volume, then I think you got a potential breakout in eBay coming, because now it enters a seasonally strong period of time that we can start looking at this particular company. So with that said, on balance volume looks pretty healthy, and for eBay, I think you don't have the earnings risk. This is kind of like we've had two crazy earnings seasons. If you look at the way last earnings season was, you look at what's going on right now. Green Mountain Coffee Roaster did not go up based off of earnings. It gone up because of its the announcement with Coca-Cola. But look at Twitter. I mean, you just got misses and hits, and doesn't beat the top, misses the bottom. It's you're really playing on earnings right now, binary events. So I think for me, I like to look for higher probability and lower risk scenarios. And for option traders, this would be a fairly decent market play for an in the money. Once you get that either that pullback there, you could use a stock replacement type strategy, or if you're going out for further time, use a lower delta. So further time would be more than 90 days. You'd use a delta of maybe like somewhere in the 40 range. So anyway, so for option traders, you know what I'm referring to, and for stock traders that are looking for a move, this could be a nice play, only based on the seasonality, and the B, the relative strength. Comparative analysis, if you take a look at the stock market being down and eBay not going down, can you imagine if we get a recovery in the equity market and the markets start to move higher? Imagine what if this market wouldn't go down on bad news. What will this stock do on good news? And it's a very low risk, and you got two ways to play it. Go with a confirmed breakout, or look for a pullback with a small risk factor. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share this morning with everybody. Bear with me one second. With me there, guys. I know, no sound. I said just bear with me 1 second. There we go. Okay. All right. So here's what we wanted to also make mention. I'm going to go through. I'm back. Yes, never left you guys. All right. So let's go through eBay, and I think eBay is one of the stocks that we have on our list. In fact, you know, I have on my notes yesterday Aussie dollar 88.20, Best Buy, Coca-Cola. Who in the room yesterday mentioned about Coca-Cola? Who was that? Who mentioned Coca-Cola yesterday? Was that Bill? Someone had mentioned about Coca-Cola, and it's funny because it popped up on the radar, and we had talked about Green Mountain Coffee, GMCR, Green Mountain Coffee Roaster, and perhaps, you know, that's what, I can't remember either, Sonia, but someone did mention about Coca-Cola to look at that. And the funny thing is that Coca-Cola and Green Mountain Coffee Roasters did pop up, and we had a little slight discussion with them. And as everyone knows, Green Mountain Coffee Roaster is going to have a heck of a move today. The technical analysis, I mean, when we take a look at, and this is what's really important, if we take a look at this overall trend and we take a look at the volume, this is a great example of relative strength. Even though we are at monthly pivot resistance, relative strength sometimes can give us a little bit better insights in the market other than looking at our technicals. Now, this is a stock that did generate a high close doji. Look at the volume. Yesterday's price action, it barely, look at this, it barely moved up yesterday. Look at the volume, and you can tell that this was a volume breakout. Now, yesterday we probably should have done a little bit more extensive analysis on this, but and that's my bad. But typically, I would say, listen, this might be worthy of a bullish outline. And one of the reasons I say that is because I've always stated that I believe someone's in the know. Before earnings come out, before something happens, someone's in the know, and the market technically will give you a clue. And I think the fact that this market had made a newer high, someone was willing to accumulate positions. Someone's in the know. And this stock traded as high as, I think, 115 yesterday, last night. And I do think it was Bill. So with that said, while this may be a missed opportunity, I think the funny thing is we did have a little slight discussion on Coca-Cola, and we did look at Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. But it's a great example of why we sometimes see little clues of technical analysis that will give us insights before the fundamental news is released. Somebody obviously had news of this. I mean, obviously, right? So with that said, let's take a look at some of these other stocks that generated monthly buys or buy signals at monthly support. And then we can kind of filter out which ones we don't want to look at. I like eBay. This is Salesforce, CRM. CRM has a little bit different makeup. It's making a higher high with no volume, so I'm moving on. Today, after the close, we have LinkedIn with earnings. Now, LinkedIn has a very ominous chart pattern. And typically, and I don't, to play LinkedIn, you would play this market if it has some nice long shadows, it's been at support, and you have a nice volume breakout, but not on price. So typically, the volume precedes price. I'm going to start expanding more bullish, biased strategies for LinkedIn, which has earnings out today, by the way, and I'm sure you all know that. But looking at LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn has a better business model than Twitter at this point as far as revenue growth is concerned, in my opinion. I could be wrong here, all right? in my opinion. Now, looking at I want to look at one more stock. All right, so Forest Labs, I can't take a look at that, even though it is the drug and we have drugs still in a seasonally strong period of time. Not healthcare providers, but drug stocks are still in a seasonally strong period of time. And on our scans last night, we did not come up with a PPS buy that I see of any, and I mean we had SRPT, Sarepta Therapeutics, Forest Labs, all generated buy signals. So this sector and this volume here, the market had this huge gaping decline, kind of like what we've been looking for in Best Buy and Bed Bath & Beyond, and eventually, you know, after a while. But this has a different technical makeup because it is seeing some volume move with it. It wasn't just a daily PPS buy signal; it was also a high close doji, and it is a stock that's in a seasonally in a sector that's a seasonally strong period of time. So we did get a couple names: Forest Labs and Sarepta Therapeutics, and if you see seasonally strong, healthcare. So for you guys that you want to do your own, you know, a little bit of analysis on your own for you self-directed traders, I think I'd just at least give you a guide as to what's popping up. And I'm going to tell you right now, the more I think this is the what we're going to focus in on more and more for the trading room, because I know there's a lot of people here that can do their own research. They're very capable, but if we can start to pick out and share with you the scans, and we can work together on this, what stocks and what sectors are in a seasonally strong period and what scans pop up, we can filter that out and really get together as a community to see some amazing things happen. So that's kind of what I think the format that we're going to continue with is, you know, every day, as I told you I would do, run the scans and share that with you in the morning. That's what we're going to continue to do, and I think this announcement format is going to be very effective. All right, so now let's take a look at the markets today that I want to take our general day trading points of interest. All right, interesting. Potential high close doji. I think we're going to continue with spotting this last conditional change everyone can see, and I know that that is a ways away, but we had originally our last conditional change candle. I told you I was not going to get bullish unless we got a close over 18, over our original level of 1808. And that has changed now because we have new conditional changes. We have a potential high close doji on a daily chart here, so we're going to monitor that if we close over yesterday's high. And don't forget, we have one major catalyst that can make this thing all change, and that is tomorrow's unemployment report. End of story. But I think just that is kind of a report that there's bound to be someone else with the information that you and I don't have access to. So for today, I think we get a little bit of a opportunity for two-sided trading. Number one, if we do get back, and I think over this little swing high, which is 50, I'm going to mark this on our calendar here. This 55, if the market, I like these long shadows on a 15-minute basis. If you get back above that 55 3/4 new high, the next resistance is almost very similar to what we did and talked about yesterday. Obviously, you got the 1759 to 60, 57, excuse me, 57 to 61 is our resistance spot for the ES. I should be unbiased. I should be unbiased and say we really got to focus on, you know, what about the downside? And, you know, I think the downside is it is important, but I mean, I don't know what the catalyst would be for us to break the downside. Truthfully, on a day like today, I don't know where it would come from, especially as everyone's waiting for the unemployment report to come out and some of the earnings. But I would say this, if we get back under 1731, since we are at a major confluence, we're at weekly support, we're at monthly support, you know, I still have to say if we break yesterday's low, you know, the next level of support is going to be around a quarter. So I'm not all that interested in taking selling a breakdown here based on the fact of where we are with the location of the monthly and weekly target support, if that makes sense. I'm going to be looking for, if we do get a breakout over, let's call it 56, I mean, I don't have a huge amount of room to the upside here because my next target is 60. I will look for patterns, like, for example, a wedge formation, and I'll be looking for day trade patterns to trade in the ES. Also, we'll be watching for confluence of buy signals across all the other indexes. So if the Dow, the Russell, and the NASDAQ all give buy signals, you know, we're in that, then we'll be taking a look at long positions there. I'm more on the bias of the long side today than I am the short side, and that's the opening bell here. Let me get in with gold real quick. All right, gold's the same old story. I have no changes in gold. I mean, gold's we need to see daily closes over our last conditional change candle, which is that PPS sell signal right here, which was on the 30th, or breakdown below the last conditional change, which was January 23rd. So that's where we're kind of trapped. Other than that, we take a look at, in case we break this upper trend line here, and we break below yesterday's low, then we can cross underneath the daily opening range, which today is 57.70. And I don't know about you, but 57 has just been, we've been talking about 57. It's just been a swing level for quite some time. So that's what I'm, trades underneath yesterday's low and the day below low will probably get us back down to testing the 40 handle. So I'll be looking for sell signals and breakdowns below that trend line, and I'll be looking for, you know, I've got to be aware of, just in case this thing for whatever reason takes off, we want to make sure we're well aware of that 67 level there. Okay. Crude oil. What can I say about crude oil? Seasonally strong period of time. We have the natural gas inventory report out, and crude oil, it's really from a monthly target or a weekly resistance target, the confluence is way up here near $100, and you also have this high here to contend with. And let me share with you what I'm looking at. That's the first, this last conditional change, as well as if you take a look at the next bar up, let me bring this into focus here. This is the PPS sell signal. It was the last conditional change. So this level is actually going to be the first test, I would say, that's more important. That's 99, let's call it 99.50. We're at 98.54. So there is a shot that if this market did want to blow off, it would get near that level, and that's 90, I'm going to call it 99.40, and look for, if we do get a breakout up in that area, I think we would be a little bit on the overbought level. I'd be looking for the first test of that resistance as a sell signal. Other than that, you got to look for pullbacks to be supported today. We are above both moving averages here. We're above both moving averages on all time for the majority, the important time frames, which is the 60-minute and the 30-minute. So with that said, that would be either look for buys closer to support or look for an overextension near this 99, and I've written down 99.40. So that's kind of my look-see in some of the markets, and obviously we got to look for a setup and a pattern to look to go short in the market. And that would conclude our quick planning and scanning for the day. and looking at, as we continue with the rest of the day, our stock selection. For tomorrow, I do have in store, as I will every day, include not just the sectors of stocks that are, just as a reminder, seasonally strong or seasonally weak, but also the commodities, whether it be nat gas, whether it be grains, whether it be gold, et cetera, et cetera. So we have those sectors down in front of us, and we'll add that to our announcements every day. I think that is something that's for traders kind of important, that's in your face, and as a good, strong reminder, what area do we want to focus in on, and then what side of the market do we want to focus in on that sector. So I will stop the recording and hope to see everybody here tomorrow morning as well. That'll be pretty neat to see what stocks do pop up on our radar for tomorrow.